big decisions to make. These are my transfer plans. Welcome to the Gianni YouTube show. Hope you guys are well. There's been no European football this week. There has been some Carabao Cup games, and there's still, as always, been some midweek news. We'll get to that in just a second. But look, let's have a look and review my season so far, have a look at my points from last week, and then not only see my team and the decisions I'm making around my captaincy, my transfers and my benchings, but also the top 3-4 players that I'm desperate to get into this team and that I'll hopefully navigate towards in the next couple of weeks. So without further ado, it's been a season for me of huge greens and huge reds. And for many of you, I think you'll probably feel the same. Like, you've probably had big wins and big losses, which shows how tight it is in FPL. You only need one good week and you get massive greens. So I went from 731,000 last week to 284,000 this. And it's kind of the story of my season. Like game week 4 to 5, I lost 1 million in rank. Then game week 5 to 6, I gained 2 million in rank. And then it's kind of yo-yoing massively up towards 1 million and then down towards sort of 300-400k. So we shouldn't take rank too seriously at this point in the season because it does just take that one good week. So look, I got 87 last time out. Let's have a look. This is my wildcard team. Let's review it. Would I have changed anything? Would I make any further changes if I could on wildcard? And the short answer to that is I wouldn't be making a huge amount of changes. As always, I'd probably be tweaking 1 or 2 players. But look, I'm fairly happy. Gabriel didn't start. If he had, he would have got 6 points, wouldn't he? Right? Arsenal kept a clean sheet, minimum 6. So with that in mind, I'm kind of like, okay, those that got Taylor or Branthwaite off the bench, it's not overly lucky because they didn't get the Gabriel 6. I think Gabriel comes back in against Newcastle. He's going to be fine. He's a starter for Arsenal. He's actually playing really well at the moment. Just got into the Brazil team, scored for them about a month ago. The midfield decisions were big on Diaby. Like the Diaby-Matoma combination was the one I was less certain about. Who occupies those 2 spots? And I'm so glad I went with Diaby. 13 points, his biggest points haul of the season. Watkins blanked, but had the highest XG of the game week, I think. Salah still finding ways of getting points. Those that went Haaland captain, well done. So look, I'm happy. If I was on wildcard now, what would I change? I don't know. Probably try and squeeze Darwin in. Don't know how. I wouldn't want to go without Watkins. Darwin in the Matoma spot and then less some money. I don't know. It'd mean no Diaby and maybe like a Cole Palmer. So I don't know. It's a tough one, that. But how am I set now moving forward? Before we see my team moving forward, how do you guys feel about hitting that like button nice and early today? That'd be amazing. I know you're all subscribed to the channel, but if you're not, hit the subscribe button as well. Thanks, guys. So look, let's have a look at my team. The goalkeepers, like, I knew Areola wasn't going to go and keep me a ton of clean sheets. There was just slim pickings there. And I'm hoping for save points. And I'm hoping when he does concede, it's only 1. And the 3-pointer last time out, you kind of take. So look, Areola stays in goal. The big decision I've got this week is around benchings, right? I look at Taylor, I look at Gabriel, and I look at Branthwaite and go, none of them are ideal this week. Right, whilst Taylor's got the fixture, he plays for Burnley. Whilst Everton's got the fixture, he faces Brighton, so attacking. And when Gabriel plays for a good defence, he's got one of the toughest away trips of the season, going to St James's Park. So let's have a look at the clean sheet odds, right? When I'm torn on a decision like this, I go, what are the odds? How do the bookies rate them? Now, I make pretty much all my own decisions in FPL, but when it's like a 50-50 call on a clean sheet, I sometimes go to the bookies odds, and it's this tight this week. I'm looking at them. So they've got Taylor at 32% likely to keep a clean sheet. They've got Gabriel 29% likely and Branthwaite 20%. Now, this is just for clean sheets. This doesn't take into account all the other ways defenders can pick up points in FPL. So it doesn't look at assist threat, goal threat, bonus point threat. So when I evaluate all of those things, I think we can probably discard Branthwaite this week. Like, Branthwaite isn't going to be in my 11. But between Gabriel and Taylor, it's so close because 29% for Gabriel, 32% for Taylor. But I would argue that Gabriel has a higher chance of bonus points, slightly, and a higher chance of getting an attacking return, a goal or an assist. Taylor did get a goal last week out. Low XG volley, amazing, but it's his first goal for Burnley, I think. And Gabriel has that set piece threat. So it's very, very 50-50 for me at the moment. I think I'm going to go Taylor. And that's looking at the opponent. Crystal Palace without Eze. They're a bit shot shy. They were lucky to score against Spurs at the end there. So I think I'll be going Taylor in my 11, Gabriel first sub. The midfield 5 I'm so happy with. I do need Matoma to start getting some points, or maybe I'll start considering switching him out. But it is the Matoma and Diaby duo alongside Salah, Saka and Son, who all feel so reliable. Like they all producing pretty much every week. Haaland, Watkins up top. Now, the players I most want to get into this team, and I'm not sure how, and I'm not sure when, but I've got a loose plan of action. Right, there's 3 or 4 assets I really want in this team. Not necessarily this week, but definitely over the next few. Darwin. I would love Darwin this week, away to Luton. But Darwin, I would like to go Darwin in for game week 14 as a minimum. So in game week 14, he plays Fulham, then it's Sheffield United, then it's Palace. I see big points, guys. Darwin looked really good in the Carabao Cup when he came on. Typical Darwin, terrible first touch, worldy goal. He scored for the second goal against Bournemouth. That's what Darwin does. He creates chaos, right? And against Luton this week, he's genuinely a good captaincy option. But look, how do I get him in? Well, Watkins probably has to go, doesn't he? Is there a way of selling Matoma and accommodating a Darwin and changing formation? Only if I'm downgrading elsewhere, which would mean a Diaby downgrade. But again, that's possible, right? So I want Darwin in this team eventually. But I also want, sooner than that, another forward. I'm getting greedy. Nketiah. So what do we know about Nketiah? We know when he plays, he scores goals. But we also know Jesus, according to a report on Wednesday, I think it was from The Sun, we know that Jesus is likely to miss the next 6 games. Now, 3 of those games are Premier League games. But the 3rd Premier League game comes at the end of November. After that, so he's going to miss, right? According to the report, Newcastle, Burnley, Brentford. Okay? So Nketiah would be a very short-term option for the number 9 role if you're not buying him till next week and you just get 2 games. However, that Brentford game is the end of November. In the first week of December, he plays Wolves and Luton. There's a midweek round of FPL fixtures. So I'm like, there's a very good chance Jesus isn't out for 3 Premier League games and he misses the 5. Because it's too early to say he's going to be back for Wolves and Luton, who only play Arsenal a week after the Brentford game, which he's apparently ruled out for. So if we get that stretch of 5 games, let's rule out Newcastle this week. If we get Burnley, Brentford, Wolves, Fulham, that stretch of 4 games, I've got to have him in my team. So next week, I am considering going Nketiah in. And if I do that, it could be from Bamba and then a Matoma down to an enabler. Now, that enabler could be Palmer. Palmer is still a very good long-term hold for me. I know the fixtures are rotten. But again, in the Wednesday night fixture in the Carabao Cup, got the assist for Sterling, Chelsea's best attacker. That's the 4th game in a row I've watched Palmer and gone, he's Chelsea's best attacker. Played on the right, looked really, really good. So Palmer, long-term, I think, will be in this team. But again, I consciously didn't go Palmer on the wild card because I knew I wanted the upside of those with good fixtures, Matoma, Diaby. So Darwin and Nketiah, Palmer are probably the 3 most likely players to somehow feature in this team in the next 3-4 weeks. But there's 2 others that I love. And I can't see how I'd accommodate them because the prices they're at. It would need probably an injury. Let's say Saka gets injured and I go, James Maddison, welcome to my team. And Maddison's another one I love. With a heavy heart, sold him on wildcard. But look, ahead of game week 15, he's got to play Chelsea, Arsenal, City. But after that, the fixtures look good. So maybe, again, that's one for after game week 15. We're thinking quite long-term here. And then the other one is Mbomo. Like, similar price to Diaby and Matoma. Could you go to Mbomo, who in game week 14 has Luton, then it's Brighton, Sheffield United, Villa, then it's a blank game week. But before that blank in 18, it's Luton, Brighton, Sheffield United, Villa. I really like the look of Mbomo too. So that's where I'm at with my key target. How they could get into this team, well, it would need a shift in formation to go Darwin and Nketiah. That would mean potentially selling Watkins, or maybe just going Darwin or Nketiah. Palmer would be the enabler to get those funds out of a Diaby or a Matoma. So that are my 3 probably main targets, but things change every week. So stay tuned and I'll let you know what I'm doing next week. But this week is very much a week in which I'm rolling the transfer. I needed an injury in the Carabao Cup to consider a transfer this week, and we didn't get them. We did get some news in the Carabao Cup, though, in terms of minutes played and bits of form. And that maybe influences our captaincy this week. Because this week, when we talk captaincy, the big decision is Haaland versus Salah. Haaland's had a week off, guys. There's no Carabao Cup for Haaland. So a week without a game. I'm sure he's been training. Haaland's going to be fresh. He plays Bournemouth, who did play on Wednesday night against Liverpool, and could be a little bit tired, a team not used to playing twice a week. Haaland, for me, is the obvious captaincy call, and that's where I'm going. Salah played against Bournemouth and actually blanked. Now, he's not been blanking much this season, but he blanked if it was an FPL game. The player I like most at Liverpool, knowing he only had 20 minutes against Bournemouth, he came on, scored a goal. I think he'll create chaos versus Luton. I would go proper differential if I owned him and consider a Darwin captaincy. I'd have to not own Haaland, though. If I didn't own Haaland, I think Darwin would be my preferred captain this week, above Mo Salah. But both Darwin and Salah are good options. Now, most weeks on this channel, I like to look at some of the points against the opponent in previous seasons that X player has scored. So let's have a look at some of the other options away from Haaland, away from Salah, away from Darwin. Because, by the way, Salah and Darwin haven't got history versus Luton. I can't compare that. But there's other options with good fixtures, mainly at Man City. So Foden, if you're looking differential, he has scored in this fixture 18 points, 9 points and 2 points. So Foden averages 8 points when he plays Bournemouth. Not bad. And Bomo, well, against West Ham, he scored a 9, a 1, a 13 and an 8. And this is probably when Tony was in the team. We know he's better without Tony. So again, a really high average there, 7.75. Shout out Only FPL for doing this for me. So Foden and Bomo both got really good histories, as has, you could argue, Alvarez, because he's got an 11-pointer against Bournemouth and then a 1-pointer where he just came off the bench. But that's an average of 6. But if you look at that 11-pointer and go, oh, that was in a start, and Alvarez is going to start against Bournemouth. Again, if you don't have Haaland, for me, it's Darwin, Alvarez, Salah are the big 3 candidates. But I'd probably punt on Darwin for the pure chaos, or possibly an Alvarez, but I don't think it would be Salah this week. So look, most will go Haaland. He will be huge effective ownership. I am going there myself purely because I think he gets the most points. But it is also a week, if you're looking outside the box, maybe to have a little bit of fun. And I know there's managers watching this without Haaland, probably 20-30% of you. So if you're going without Haaland, there's big upside to both Alvarez, Darwin, Salah if you want to play safe. But I think, having watched Liverpool on Wednesday night against Bournemouth, Salah got 90, Darwin got 20. Darwin came on, looked explosive. He's going to start versus Luton. Do you remember the Luton game versus Spurs a couple of weeks ago when we all captained Son and he blanked? But Son, they should have been 5-0 up in the first half. And then they got Basuma sent off, didn't they? It's going to be similar. Liverpool start that game so well, and there's going to be chance after chance after chance early on. I'm gutted not to own Darwin this week. I'm not going to make that move because I'm going to be set on Watkins. But Darwin, I think, is a really good shout for the Luton game. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this team selection video. Do hit the like and subscribe button on your way out. We'll see you. I might even do a live on Friday. So hopefully we'll see you on a live before the game week deadline. Look out to that. You can set notifications on my channel so you know every time I'm going live or there is a new video out. But for now, go well and I'll see you.